Join me now, right on set, great pleasure, my dear friend Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, Fox News contributor. Glad you're here. Kind of saved the day for us. Appreciate it very much.
You don't mince words.
Well, I know. Look, I'm not saying that everyone, it ain't perfect, never is. There's always a shock and awe effect with Mr. Trump and his art of the deal. But people don't listen to what he says. He had been writing in Truth Social that he wanted to negotiate. Yeah. Then they start sending these little piddling, 12 people from Germany, 6 people from France, and then they were there for 24 hours, and they flew business class back to the continent. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's just so stupid. And I thought he did give a good speech. I know there's going to be work to be done, and I was hoping to go back and forth with you on some of the key points, but this was a strong performance, and it shows, I think, his sincerity. He wants to protect NATO. He wants to protect the West. He wants to keep elbowing Russia and China out of the Western Hemisphere area. It's in our interest to do so.
It is in our interest. And if he is successful, and if Greenland does become a place that the United States can absolutely 100% rely on for national defense, for rare minerals that are found there, it would be a very, very good result, but it just feels too easy today. That's where I've been watching this. It just feels too easy for the president to put out a Truth Social saying he's got this framework of agreement with the NATO Secretary General. As you know, Larry, the NATO Secretary General does not speak for Denmark. The NATO Secretary General doesn't speak for any European nation. He represents the collective NATO to secure national defense for them. He's probably the only hawk left in Europe, and that's why Trump and Rutte get along so well. But I think that I would not be surprised to hear the Prime Minister of Denmark later put out a statement saying this is news to us. We have no knowledge about it, and we don't agree to any framework yet. So let's count to 10 before we celebrate this moment.
Well, you're probably right. You may be right. I'm also told, however, that in recent days, in the run-up to Davos, believe it or not, pretty good dialogue between Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Rubio, and the Danish foreign minister. All right, so they have been talking. I'm also told by some sources they're looking at long-term plans. Now, what that means, I don't know. Mr. Trump in the speech today seemed to prefer purchasing Denmark, not leasing it, or leasing the military bases. Now, he could have been referring to purchasing military bases, of which there are many, as you know, and they need to be spiffed up, and money has already been appropriated. So I don't know how that's going to play out. Here's the thought. I don't. We had Mark Thiessen on last night. We don't. If we owned the whole thing, I mean, just consider this. And Thiessen's such a clever chap. You know him well. They're socialists. We'd have to pay for all the welfare benefits. We'd have to give them 2 Senate seats and a House membership. We don't want to do that, really. Couldn't we just lease the mineral lands and, lease the military bases and spiff up the Space Force? Wouldn't that be a better way to go?
Well, that is really what we've done. We've done that along a lot of possessions and territories of the United States over time, particularly since World War II. And by the way, during World War II, the United States was in charge of Greenland's security because Denmark couldn't handle it when they were in an active, real shooting war. They asked us to help them to defend Greenland, and we did it for them. But the problem here is leasing and temporarily owning doesn't sound like it's something President Trump is interested in. His statement today is you don't have all that national defense, you don't put all that money out there for a lease, no matter how long it is. I think he wants it. Now, there's so much to be defined here, and a lot of this is classic Donald Trump negotiating status. He goes in, the bull in the china shop, people think he's going to use force, then when he takes force off the table, they're all like, phew, okay, and then he declares a fait accompli. And now do they look like the bad guys for getting in the way of the fait accompli that he declared today? That's classic Trump negotiating style. I'm still not sure it's going to work in this instance, but that's how he operates.
It's kind of cool, though. You think about it. I mean, it's funny. All the Europeans had so many bad things to say about him the last few days. Really nasty, bad things, one after another. And then he shows up in Davos and said, "I want to have meetings," and they all come rushing in to have meetings with him.
There's a historical analogy to this, and it was called King Henry VIII's rough wooing of Scotland. He wanted Scotland the same way Donald Trump wants Greenland. He had his son arranged to marry the daughter of the Queen of Scotland. Mary, Queen of Scots, would have married Edward VI.
Yes.
Didn't work. Scottish people didn't want it, so he sent the military. They called it the rough wooing of Scotland. I think President Trump in Greenland, a little more woo, a little less rough, and he'll get there.
Yeah, it's very important. I just want to come back to the national security issue. You've been involved in national security during the Bush years, and I think people don't understand. A lot of the media don't even take it seriously, the Greenland thing.
Yeah.
That it is part of the Western Hemisphere. It is in the path of the ICBMs. You know, the Arctic North is melting. There's more activity going on up there that we have to be aware of. There are nuclear threats. These are huge things, and that's why I don't mean to be glib, all right, but I really, the Europeans are misbehaving so badly, in my view. Only Trump can save them from themselves. Just let him work, or let me put it to you differently: work with them instead of attacking him and insulting him. If he has a good idea, work like a Golden Dome or something to do with Greenland. Work with him. Don't just insult him.
100%, and that's been the mistake Democrats in the United States make as
Yes.
well. But I want to point something out. President Trump's style is never to persuade, never to explain. It's to assert. And that's because he's an alpha male, that's because he's the leader, and he doesn't feel the need to explain. I think the American people came into this going, what in the world? Greenland? Who? What? Where? Why? If he had given a couple speeches to explain the strategic importance, to explain why they should be allied with the United States, put it in those...
A little selling.
That's correct. There was no woo, no sell, no explanation, but that's his style. He asserts. He did the same thing, I would argue, for Panama. I mean, for Venezuela. He did not explain what Maduro was doing that was so bad. He went in as the tough guy and got him. Now, it ended great, but he doesn't explain. He acts and he asserts. That's his style.
Listen, I'm in a very forgiving mood, not only because this is turning out, but because he argued today that you can have strong growth without inflation.
Yeah.
Philip Scurv is dead, Ari Fleischer.
Let's hope.
I'm very forgiving. As long as he says that, I'm a happy supply sider. You know that. We go back so many years. Anyway, thank you for visiting.
Thank you, Larry.
Appreciate it very much.